Hello again, metal vinyl fanatics, and welcome back to the channel. Now, Watain, that's a band whose vinyl releases I've been willing to dedicate a full episode to for quite some time now. Somehow never really managed to, mostly because of my declining interest in this subgenre, but I guess this is my last time and last chance to do so because guess what? I sold their two most expensive and rare releases to date. Namely, their first LP, Rabid Death's Curse, first full-length LP released by End of Life Productions in the year 2000, and their vinyl debut, The Essence of Black Purity, 7 inches EP from the year 1999. Now, little bit of context surrounding concerning this band, if you were a black metal fan back in the early 2000s, there's just no possible way you could have not been a Watain fanboy, because when they came out, these guys were considered like the new big sensation in black metal. Uh, you gotta contextualize things a little bit. Now, we're talking about the late 90s, early 2000s. The whole black metal, Norwegian black metal thing had kind of faded out in a way. Most of the classic bands from that scene, like Mayhem, Emperor, were sort of struggling, experimenting, or maybe put on ice, like Burzum and some other bands were just not releasing good albums, super stuff, a lot of filler albums coming around. And black metal people, fanboys, were looking for a band which would be able to like recreate that, necro feel that the old legendary bands had and sort of carried the torch into the new millennium. And Watain was like the right band at the right time. When they appeared on the scene, it was quite an impact. They made quite an impact, It was a really big thing. People were raving about them. And I know that nowadays perhaps a lot of guys tend to look upon them as posers because they signed to a bigger label and blah blah blah, which to me it's just bullshit. I still think the band is releasing very competent stuff these days. But yeah, there's no question that their first releases, their first three albums, especially everything up to and including Sworn to the Dark, was where their band was at its own peak. Now, talking about their first 7 inches EP, The Essence of Black Purity, year of release 1999. Let me see if I can get some focus. Yep. 300 copies, hand number 167, my own copy. Incredibly rare to find these days. Don't expect to find one in the second-hand section of your local shop, because you will not be prepared to spend anything in between 300 and 500 euros to secure a copy. But this is a small jewel. Only two songs on this EP, The Essence of Black Purity and Horse in Pale, but the qualities is absolutely stellar. Gatefold release, which was kind of uncommon around those days for 7 inches EP, but yeah, totally classic one. I think this EP got re-released, I believe, some 15 years ago as part of a box set that Shadow Records put out, which was including the first Ufermod, Triumphator and Maligne 7 inches EPs, if memory serves me well. Don't call me on that one, go look it up on Discogs for more precise info. But yeah, this is the first pressing, definitely a rarity. And be prepared to pay an enormous amount of money if you want to secure yourself a copy. Rabid Death's Curse, now that's another incredibly rare release. This is the first pressing of their debut album, which originally was released by Drakkar Productions, the French label, which licensed the rights to End of Life Productions. Now, End of Life Productions, it was another French label, which was kind of like your go-to label, I would say, if you were into black metal in the early 2000s. They put out some of the best stuff from that subgenre in around that time. I'll give them credit for that. Especially remember the first Antaeus LP, Cut Your Flesh and Worship Satan. That one is an absolutely underrated classic in my opinion. They also put out some rather subpar stuff, as well as a lot of Nazi bullshit, but it's black metal, it is what it is. Mind you, this release was incredibly hard to acquire even upon release. I myself couldn't lay my hands on a copy. It sold out almost instantly because it was limited to only 350 hand-numbered copies, and I had to trade, I believe, two of my Bulldozer LPs to get a copy from a dude back in the day. But I mean, the quality of this album absolutely stellar. Gateful release. Side A incredibly strong, side B slightly less convincing but still good. There's a Card of the Blood, it's a cover by Japanese Sabbath. If you don't know that band, please find some release by them, especially their first LP Envenom, absolutely killer. This copy is signed, as you can tell, by all the band members. I was lucky enough to attend one of the shows that the band played during their first European tour ever. They were co-headliners, co-headlining it with Ampure, Swedish, another Swedish band, which I don't think they are still active these days, but killer band back in the day. My only minor complaint concerning these releases is the quality of the pressing plant involved. You know that I have a beef with the Czech GZ, which sadly was like the only pressing plant that labels used around those days. And they came up with these versions which are honestly like pressed on very cheap vinyl. The sound as a consequence is pretty terrible. I haven't really, checked the later reissues, but yeah, don't expect these LPs to sound like the, I don't know, Philharmonic Orchestra from Vienna or anything like that, because, yeah, GZ, that's a guarantee for incompetence in terms of vinyl making. Now, if you don't want to spend those huge prices on these two original editions, you have quite some alternatives. Rabid Death's Curse, of course, has been re-released a number of times over the years. I will stick to my picture disc edition, which I would look upon as a collector's item mainly, because the sound quality of it is pretty abysmal. It's even worse than the black vinyl, because guess what, GZ was the one releasing it, but visually speaking it's a thing of beauty. Absolutely love this picture, live picture of the band covered in blood. And yeah, this is also the Die Hard edition. I think it was pressed in 400 copies, but this is one of the first 100. Yep, this is the so-called certificate, copy number 49 out of 100, including some extra BS, like the lyrics sheet, lovely sticker, which I couldn't really give rat's ears about, poster and some other stuff, I believe. But yeah, I mean, this is more like a collector's item. If you're really big fan of the band, like I was back in the day, I used to collect pretty much everything they would put out. If you're looking for a decent sounding release of their first LP, I would really suggest to switch to CDs, because I really don't know what the later pressings sound like, but the originals are kind of like debatable, to say the least. So guys, that does it for Watain's early releases. I still have a couple of Watain items up for grabs, including their second 7-inch EP split with Diabolicum. So if you're interested in those ones, please get in touch. The ones that you are seeing in this video are currently sold. They have been sold, so don't ask for them. As usual, I'm asking you, let me know down in the comments what you think about these two releases. Do you think the band aged well? How do you compare the latest albums to the early stuff? I'm not really too familiar with their later releases. I mean, I know they're good, I listened to them a couple of times, but I'm kind of interested to know like your take on them, because why not? This is all about sharing opinions on music. That's what this channel has been created for. Just like that, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and till the next time, keep it loud and heavy as usual.